Hi, my name is Dr.Anestis. I am the Nina Bell Suggs Professor of Psychology at the University of Southern Mississippi, and my work focuses on suicide prevention, particularly as it relates to firearms. Now, I know that both suicide and firearms are difficult topics to discuss, but I think they're important ones, and our tendency to ignore these topics and avoid these conversations, I think, has contributed to a pretty severe problem. So I want to take a minute, tell you a little bit about what the problem is and what I think that we can do without people feeling as though their rights are being trampled upon or they're being villainized and painted in broad strokes as a problem. So what is the issue at hand? Suicide. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. It takes the lives of almost 45,000 individuals every year. That's far more than you see in homicide, and it's more than you see in auto accidents. But we don't talk about suicide. And related to guns, half of those deaths, so a little bit over 22,000 of them each year, result specifically from firearms. What that tells us is that guns and suicide are very highly related. Now, this doesn't mean that guns make somebody suicidal. They don't. But they make suicidal people more likely to die. And so the issue at hand is, how can we find a way to change the way we think about and address firearms and suicide so that gun owners don't feel alienated, spoken down to, or threatened? And I think there are several ways to do that. Now, I certainly have done research on legislation. I know that legislation is not a popular topic within the gun owning community, and I can absolutely respect that. So let's talk about ways that don't involve changing laws and regulating things. The best approach in that sense is what we call means safety. With respect to guns and suicide, that means a couple of very specific steps that people can take. One is to store your gun or firearm unloaded and locked and in a secure location. So that could mean using a trigger lock, it could mean using a gun safe. It means not having a loaded gun, a loaded firearm in your bedside table. I know this is difficult for some folks. If you have a firearm specifically for home protection, this is going to sound as though I'm asking you to make yourself more vulnerable. Now, I can quote statistics that would argue against that, but I don't think that's going to be our best way forward. So I'm simply going to ask you to sort of take me at my word and respond as closely as you can to that in an effort to keep yourself and your loved ones safe. The second thing that this can mean is allowing somebody temporarily on your own terms to keep your gun outside of your home for you during a time of crisis. If you're going through a difficult time, that might not be the best moment for you to have your firearm readily accessible, or for your family members to have a firearm readily accessible. Think of this the way we think about friends don't let friends drive drunk. When you've had a few drinks, you let your friends hold your keys temporarily, but you get them back and you do it on your terms. This is the same deal here. This isn't about somebody coming for the guns. This is about you taking it into your own hands to make sure yourself and your loved ones are safe and keep on living. Now, you have to be careful this to make sure that in your state this is legal. Different states have different laws about temporarily holding a gun outside the house. So you need to be thoughtful about what is and is not plausible where you live. But the whole idea here isn't let's take guns away. The idea here isn't gun control. The idea is gun owners keeping themselves and their families safe from suicide, a topic that we don't talk about and a lot of times we think couldn't possibly be relevant to ourselves and our loved ones, but which is constantly present in the lives of many people, even when they don't expect it. And so I'll leave you with this idea. A lot of you might be hearing this and thinking, suicide isn't relevant to me, it could never happen to me, and even if you address guns, the bottom line is that they'll find another way. And so here's my response to that. For a lot of folks, they think that suicide is something that could never impact them, but at some point down the road, it becomes the only thing they can think about. And in those moments, we don't make our best decisions. So you need to plan ahead of time, be smart and safe, and know and trust that scientists have had that same idea, that maybe they'll use another method and have tested this routinely and found that that's not how it works. If you can prevent somebody from using a specific method to attempt suicide in a specific moment, a lot of times you will save their lives permanently. These are simple steps. These are common ground solutions. If you or anyone you know is having thoughts of suicide, I refer you to 1-800-273-TALK, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. I hope you will seek evidence-based care, and I hope that you will take my message seriously, which is we can all be safe and respect each other's different perspectives if we just change the way we think about and store guns with respect to suicide prevention. Thank you.